Monday. I promise you, Mercury is not retrograde, but oh boy, does it feel like it. We had trouble getting online for our... We're almost 2 minutes late. That's not like us.
No, we're super punctual. So, yeah, for some obscure reason, the feed from the camera wasn't coming into Livestream Studio. I just had to restart everything, and lo and behold, it works now. So, obviously, it was just having a...
I think it's still some energy from the planet of chaos, panic, and disorder. My work here is done.
Well, let's see who's there, who we've confused.
We've got...
we got a bunch of peeps.
Gilda and Cass and Geraldine and Helena and Anne-Marie.
And she's in Florida, because she said so. So, there you go.
Okay.
I know that. Well, welcome everybody. Oh dear. What fun.
Just another manic Monday. And Wendy. Hello, Wendy.
Oh, hi, Wendy.
It's just crazy energy. And I don't know if anybody else has noticed that like odd things are happening. I know that right now the veil to the ancestors is the thinnest and not the veil to fairy. But it really does feel like the wee folk are
especially playful,
moving things and putting things in a different place. Like you're like, where is such and so? I know I left it right here, and then you find it like over there. And I'm not talking about things that cats could steal.
No,
I'm talking about
we've helpfully had a box of 30 flash drives just moved somewhere, and they appear to have disappeared out of existence because we know where they think that where we thought they used to be,
right?
But they're not there.
Although my divination says that they're somewhere at the shop, so I think we should look there again.
I didn't take them there. I know I didn't take them there. I know I took the ones that we
were already recorded.
Correct.
Absolutely.
But
for Craft of the Wise,
but anyway. Oh gosh. So yeah,
so if you're feeling a little out of sorts, or you're feeling like you keep losing things, or things are appearing and disappearing, I think there's definitely something going on with.
Did you see Laurie's post this morning about waking up? She said she woke up with a light on, which...
Oh, right. That she... Yeah.
She didn't turn on, but it...
Well, her cat might have... It's a tap light.
Well, yeah, but fur don't work usually with that, does it? Yeah, unless
beans.
It's like...
Beans would work.
Put the beans on it. Possible. Hot dog, don't mind if I do. Anyway...
Oh, my goddess.
Hello, Sean. Hello. So, thank you for bearing with us while we started with a really professional, bang-on time to the second get-go with Magickal Monday, episode 41, believe it or not. So, we've been doing this for 41 weeks now.
Well, that's a good thing.
It's
good
not
showing.
bad, yeah. We only missed one, and that was for circumstances beyond our control.
You know, it was thumping time again, I'm afraid. But
yeah,
anyway.
it's just no fun.
So,
no fun.
Yesterday, we took a long drive. It's a little over 3 hours one way.
It's a pretty drive.
To see our wonderful Potter. So it's going to take us a while because it's kind of a double order. I got a little crazy. Because I place my order, and then what she does is make extra witchy things if she knows I'm coming.
Because you can't resist.
I always... well, yes, but I got...
Ooh, I'll have to have that. Ooh, they'd love that. Ooh.
And she said, well, you know, honestly, you're the only one who buys this stuff, because she's a dinnerware maker, and she does really beautiful, tourist things where she will make cups with the names of the place where they're at and things like that. What do you got?
Sean Otis is saying he's had, it was an awful eclipse Saturday. My hematite bracelet exploded. Took a hit for you then. And my cat became very ill. He was 100% better the next day. Well, I'm glad your pussycat's better.
Well, I think animals are very sensitive to...
hey, Misty, how you doing?
I think animals are very sensitive to energy. And that eclipse, you know, I didn't talk an awful lot about it, but... The eclipse was 21 degrees Libra, so we said that is the world card, which is the entering of Malkuth, and then I said that it was involved in the T-square with Pluto and the nodes because it's at that same degree that could be considered conjunct. So, it was a pretty riotous weekend.
Apparently everybody was off colour over the weekend here, it looks like, because it says Gilda was exhausted during the eclipse and new moon, and Elena felt exhausted yesterday. Fortunately, it was just a long way. You were very tired yesterday.
I was really tired yesterday, but I know because we were up till 2:00 in the morning on Saturday. That's and I'm on these
doing
meds.
witchy things,
and
as
I'm on
you do.
these meds that I'm only slightly allergic to, which is why I have teenage acne. But they slow my heart rate down, so I'm always tired. It's just
Borderline bradycardic.
Yeah.
It's
but
hard to get going.
Hey, a day above ground, you got to go
As
with
you
it,
do.
right?
Jen's there. Good morning, and Misty,
morning.
me too.
Everybody was tired, and
everybody's
we're all
tired.
catching up.
Well, good job I stayed awake.
But anyway, I did really well with the pottery. I got some
yeah.
really great. She makes these little cardinals, and we all think about when a cardinal visits, it's an ancestor.
Oh, you mean the bird? I was thinking, I didn't see you got any Catholic priests. What the? No, not that kind of cardinal.
No.
Nobody expects the
So
Spanish
they're little
Inquisition.
pottery cardinals. They're beautifully painted, and you could hang them on your Yule tree, or you could just put them up around your home. So there's cardinals, there's owls, there's all kinds of Samhain, Noscalangaeth ones.
Gallant.
Gallan.
It's a G. It
Sorry.
mutates.
Halloween.
Noscalangaeth.
We'll
try and get it.
I got all different kinds of cats. I got pumpkins, all those kind of things, and then of course I got some mugs and different dishware and incense burners and mortars and pestles and all kinds of stuff. And we will do a box opening. That's probably going to be tomorrow because today it's just packed.
The days are indeed just packed. Yeah. So Anne Marie makes candles. I've been making candles too. I really need to get to it. People seem to be buying an awful lot of candles of late, and it's like I took 100 in, and then somebody bought 44 that same day. It's like, okay.
Someone has a really long name. What is this?
That's Susan. Susan has a long name.
Hi, Susan.
Certainly on the tube of you. So welcome, Susan. Welcome.
All right, I got them all down. All right, so we thought that today we would talk about folklores.
Oh, yes.
Right? So one of the easiest kind of examples to see the evolution of is Easter, right? So we have Easter and Easter eggs and the Easter bunny. And
yes, have you ever thought what Easter eggs and bunnies have to do with the resurrection of Christ?
Right. And then
There's a pondering one for you.
We celebrate that Sabbath at 0 degrees Aries.
And
And
the vernal equinox.
that is in the east, right? Which is where we get Easter, estrogen, eostra, all that kind of stuff from. But I imagine if we go back a little, like pre-Christian days.
Yes.
We might understand that the light is returning, right? We know that Yule is the longest night and the shortest day.
Yes.
And then by February, the days are getting a little bit longer, and we can notice the sun.
And the shortening shadows.
Right? But then when we get to the spring equinox, all kinds of birds recognize that it's time to start laying eggs again.
It's like that signal, isn't it, where the light overcomes the darkness.
And they know now is the time. If I lay my eggs now, my babies will have plenty of food and they won't freeze to death, and so this could be the origins of like the original Easter egg hunts, which really, again, pre-Christianity, but people realized, oh, okay, I can find some pheasant eggs or some quail eggs or some duck eggs or some whatever kind of eggs.
Abundance of food, yeah.
And, now we see that things are starting to become fertile again, and I can till the ground, and it's time to get planting and all that kind of thing. So that's one of the easier ones to recognize how that might have come to be, right?
Well, yeah, it kind of like follows. I mean, the most folklores or folk traditions have their underpinnings way, way, way back. And they may have morphed over time, certainly. I mean, this is something we love. That's our next, isn't our next lesson in Craft of the Wise, is the Wheel of the Year?
Yes.
Where we really do dig into the Sabbats and where they get their underpinnings
Oh yeah,
from.
yeah. No, we don't need to go over all of the Sabbats.
goodness,
I wanted
good.
to just use.
But yeah, Easter, it's where we orientate. It's the sun rises directly in the east, hence we get all that east sort of look to it. And yeah, the birds start laying, so there begins your first Easter egg hunt, maybe.
Right. I only wanted to use that as an example
Yes.
to talk about the time of year we're in, because I think that people kind of notice that one, right? You could reconcile that one, even no matter what religion you're coming from. You could recognize that kind of folk traditions based on agricultural and actual happenings in nature.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because understanding the nature of nature is the whole key to folklore.
I think so, isn't it? It's my Trin Hawan Da, Sean. Yes. Thank you for your contribution in Welsh. That's lovely. That means good afternoon, by the way. So, gosh, yeah, well, we're coming up on a right good one where there's so much folklore, and I think this is one where did all that come from? Because we're coming up at our high holy day on the craft, really. And it is a holy day, I think, also for the Christian church, and your Dia des Muertes in Spanish, and you've got All Souls Night, and the honouring of the ancestors and all that kind of stuff.
Where did all this come from?
Where did all this come from? Have you ever thought about that? And why do people wear costumes and go around and try and get food?
Well, what I think, obviously, we can recognize that the days are getting shorter.
Oh, yes.
Right? We can recognize that frost is coming and that many things are starting to go back to the earth.
Yep.
Right? Like if the frost comes and your flowers are all gone.
They're dead.
And your
Noticeably
herbs
dead.
turn brown, and the things that you haven't brought in to ripen, maybe you picked a bunch of green tomatoes now because there just isn't enough sunshine to ripen them, but you're going to bring them in. So you start bringing in all of these energies, all these crops for preservation. And that's what we see ourselves doing, being in tune with nature. But again, let's go back even further. There was a time when agricultural practices were not as huge as they are now.
Yeah, well, we
And
sort
it
of
was
transitory
more of a
phase.
foraging kind of energy.
Hunter-gathering kind of thing.
So people, I think, started to realize that over the winter, the only real sustenance they were going to have was from something they hunted, right? They weren't going to be able to just wildcraft or, pick herbs or find berries or fruits or any of that. There was no more random things like that. So in order to survive, you would have to hunt something, which could be where we get the beginning of the folklore of Gwyn ap Neath and the Wild Hunt.
The Wild Hunt, yeah. The souls.
The hunting of souls, in a sense. And also, since it was darker longer, if you were going to go out hunting or if you were going to travel, you certainly would want to try to travel during full moon because you'd have at least some more light. But if you were walking on pathways and it was so dark so early, there might have been that kind of spooked energy.
Things that go bump in the
of
night.
hearing something walking by you, crunching leaves, Certainly it could have been nocturnal animals, but we know as humans we kind of have an avid imagination. So we might have felt like some of the souls that had gone before us were walking among us because they were hidden in the shadows of the long dark nights.
This is probably because I wasn't around at the time, or if I was, I really don't recall it because it was many, many lifetimes ago. But my own take on this is, as Lisa's saying, that as you know, the light and dark half of the year was determined interesting long before calendars. Long before we actually started to write stuff down and had a written calendar.
But you recognize their names, Callan.
Callan, beginning, yeah, Callan, the beginning of. So we would have the Callans of summer and the Callans of winter, Callan Hav and Callan Gaeaf in Welsh. Callan Hav is marked when the hawthorn, the white thorn, bloomed, because at that point the risk of frost was past. It was safe for things to grow now.
Right. So
but the other side of the wheel.
So we could see hawthorn as the white pillar.
You could,
right?
couldn't you?
Saying the light is returning, the hawthorn has bloomed, there is no more risk. You can plant and, you'll be warm and, have
Summers are coming in.
Summer's coming.
Summers are coming in. However, on the other side of the wheel, all that lives must die, and all that dies will rise again, perhaps. But Callan Gaeaf was when the first frost came. And bear in mind, this was prior to, as I said, that written calendar. So the first frost came. And, everything was looking beautiful up until that. Like you might have squash plants. But if you ever seen a squash plant after a frost, it's done.
Yeah.
So you might have the pumpkin there, but the plant is so visibly dead
Done, yeah.
at this point. And so this would bring, I guess, in our forefathers and our foremothers, if that's the right word, our ancestors would have very much have had this brought to mind about the fragility and the inherent mortality.
Yes.
And as Lisa's saying, that this is the time of year. What are we going to keep over winter? What are we going to have to feed? Because the food stocks that we have to sustain us over winter, if we're keeping livestock too, they have to sustain that. So hard decisions were made on what you're going to feed over winter to give birth to new offspring in the coming next year, or what you would slaughter and preserve as meat to sustain yourself over there. So this was a very painful time where mortality, our mortality is brought front and center, and we've got it too easy now. There is no, this is the wonderful thing. We'll talk more about the legend of the Mary Lloyd as we get closer, but we don't really fear winter anymore because we're like viscerally
we're going
isolated.
To the Bahamas and celebrating Christmas on the
huge
equator.
Parties and so we don't fear winter. We don't have to struggle for our very existence, unless of course we're homeless, and my heart goes out to people who are, and they're trying to make do with whatever clothes they've got on their back. They know what it's like to struggle through winter, but we, are ridiculously fortunate. We don't have to struggle
we kind
through
of got
winter.
it all backwards. We have all these festivals. And...
Yeah, exactly.
But you notice that over time, people really focused on light, right? They brought the evergreens in and they lit them up, and they brought extra light into their home, and they're really trying to...
Well, the evergreen itself is a symbol of the continuance of life. It continues to grow when everything else is dead because it's still green,
Right.
So it's easy to see.
Well, what about this trick-or-treating thing?
I was just coming on to that. So it's easy to see how our thoughts would turn very introspective and about mortality. And at that point, your thoughts go out to those that have gone before us, Somebody brought us into this world, and, in the natural order of things, grandfather dies, father dies, son dies, in the natural order of things. So there would be this honouring of those that have gone before and that have taught us. And this was like I think it is a very natural thing. And we certainly did honour our dead a lot more in the past. We do pay lip service to it now, but do we really honour our dead in the same way? Even the Victorians did that. I mean, like, stupid, they would build such massive funerary monuments and all
Well,
that
they
sort
would
of stuff.
stand the dead people up and take their photograph. It was really
That's
bizarre.
kind of odd, really. Yeah. And there was the whole death mask thing. And I mean, you look at the Egyptians with their elaborate tombs and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, getting slightly sideways here. So what about trick-or-treating? Where did that come from? Who thought of this idea? Well, speaking of Egyptians, we've heard of the word mummy, right? And this really goes back to, again, being in disguise. One of the things that you would do traditionally, and is still practiced within the craft at our highest holy day, our highest Sabbath, Samhain or Calan, is we hold a dumb supper where we commune with our ancestors, where there's nothing said, but food is laid out for them. And we would hope that our ancestors, we invite them to come across the Vale and spend time with us. The fact that they're discarnate, if that's the right word. I don't know. What you got? We're getting there. Before they brought the trees inside, they used to decorate the trees outside with things from nature.
And Sean saying, begging for soul cakes door to door. And Sag Girl, we don't do readings for non-members on Magical Monday.
Oh, and hello, Donna. I see Donna's joined us.
Hello, Savannah.
Oh, well, there you go.
There
Isn't
you go.
life wonderful?
We're caught up.
All right. Okay. Sorry. So, yeah. So, mummers, disguise. The idea is because things went bump in the night, and, the Calan is one of the two Asprudnos, the spirit nights. When mischief abounds, so to speak, and things do go bump in the night.
Well, you think even of the word mummy and keep mum.
Well, it's quiet. That is exactly right. It's contained. It's wrapped. And there's this weird connection between mummy and mother, all right? So it's almost like going back to the mother, being returned to the womb to regenerate, so to speak. So, yeah, the whole begging for soul cakes or putting food out for offerings out for your ancestors,
for the wandering souls,
because this is the way it's done. This is the way it's honoured, and this gradually morphed into this sort of mummers parade.
Yeah,
and there's a crossover. If you're of European descent, you may have heard of Guy Fawkes Night. Certainly, if you're British, you will have. Where it was like penny for the guy, but it actually changed because mummy and guising is they made this effigy of Guy Fawkes and they push it around in a little wheelbarrow, penny for a guy to try and get money for fireworks, but it's actually penny for the guys because this is an effigy of a spirit which is carried around.
Guy Fawkes Night is the 5th of November, which is actually closer to the actual date of the cross-quarter Sabbath of Samhain or Calan because it would be celebrated at 15 degrees Scorpio, which is going to be into that first week of November.
Exactly. So there you go. That's and so we got this custom now that has turned into kids dressing up in disguise.
The souls taking the offerings, we're
and give me candy, but no nuts, no chocolate, vegan only, whatever. Listen, come to us, you'll get what you get. You'll get nothing and you'll like it.
It's very difficult for us because, of course, this crazy Halloween parade is on our holy day.
Yeah.
It's always on October 31st. And I remember the first year we moved down to 180, they ran up to us and said, "Where did you get your costumes?" Like, yeah.
It's my robe, love.
But anyway, and then I'm sure some of you have heard the story of how we used to give rocks. It was a Charlie Brown Halloween, and we'd give everybody rocks. And one year we had copal, which is an young amber resin.
Young amber, yeah.
And it has a scent to it because it could also be used for incense. So
I
put them in baggies because I didn't want the resin to, leach into the kids' candy if they were going to take the rock. Because we usually have an alternative. Like if we were giving rocks, we would have an alternative. So the week after Halloween, I was visited by an undercover detective who wanted to know what it was that we were giving people because one of the moms had complained that we were giving out drugs. And I said, "Do you really think I could afford to give out 500 packets of drugs.
I have to
And he
tell
said,
you.
well, I don't know what you could afford, but we tested this. And I said, you tested it. Did it come back as a drug?
We don't know what it is.
So that was the last year we gave out rocks.
He's I have to tell you, poor fella, we do appreciate all the members of our law enforcement community, but this guy wasn't going to be Sherlock Holmes anytime soon, is all I'm going to tell you. If you just calculate how much it would cost to give away rocks of crack cocaine.
500.
500 rocks of crack cocaine.
But we don't have there's not quite as many trick-or-treaters now. I think that it's kind of
Eased
come
off
to
a
the
bit,
point
yeah.
where they go to house parties where they know they're
And
safer because
and they've got all
the
this
world is just
trunk or
cuckoo.
treat. There's no effort gone into it, is it now? They have trunk or treat. Everybody drives up with their cars and they just, people gather in the parking lot and dig in the boot or the trunk.
I don't want to be cynical, but I do have a difficult time with what they've commercialized our holy day into, but whatever.
Yeah, Geraldine Rocks was a thing. We had my folks over and we were
They
talking.
used to
They
love-
loved it. My dad loved it, just sitting on the porch and giving out little rocks to the kids. And maybe we'll get back there,
I don't know.
But yeah, we've got to give something away.
Yes.
Which maybe we should do a... No, I'll get stoned if I suggest this.
What do you want to do?
Maybe we should, at the other end of the year, the Easter parade, we should all
dress
put
up
like crowns of thorns on our head and have
as
inflatable...
bloody, warded, ugly Jesuses and have a parade. That would go well.
I bet that would be good.
Oh, we're missing a lot of... Misty is saying something.
Good grief.
What?
It's probably down to the size of your pumpkin, Sean. Did you... He says
I
you
put
get
up an
400 to
altar-
500 trick-or-treaters every year.
That's what we used to get, but not anymore. Rocks was a sweet thing. Yes, it was. I put up an altar with pictures of my relatives that have passed away, and all month I make their favorite foods. Well, that's wonderful,
See
Misty.
now,
That's
Misty,
cool.
you're doing it right. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
we don't get that many trick-or-treaters anymore, thank goodness. And they
Well,
don't...
COVID rattled people up,
Yeah.
and plus now they've moved the firehouse. They used to start. They'd still have the parade.
But there used to be like this really vandal thing that went on as well. They would smash windows and throw rocks at cars and spray paint your signs.
Yeah, nice.
It was just
not good.
really not nice.
Yeah, so we, we're all for people having a wonderful time, and we love people to be happy and joyful and all that fun stuff. But don't cross lines. Don't turn into a vandal. That's not what this is about.
No.
It's hardly honouring your ancestors, is it, to set a fire under somebody's porch? Why is it always treats? I say tricks sometimes.
Toilet paper. Well, so you see,
TP for my bung hair.
toilet paper didn't hurt anybody, but throwing rocks and denting their cars. The one year they lit leaves on fire under a little old lady's porch on Mill Rock Road. I mean, it was just really, just not cool.
You can burn a house down.
Yeah.
People,
All right.
people can get
So
killed.
Gilda
doing
was here first today.
it. Oh goodness! Is it that time?
It
Is
is.
We've only done one folklore thing, but I think we did enough of that. That's all right.
Well, that's what we were going to do, is the one that's current.
All right then.
I just used Ostara as an example of how we were going to
Contrast and compare.
read the next.
What we got? It's so sad that people use it to vandalize. It is, but we will have none of that.
Well, one year it was a Saturday night. I think it was in the early 2000s when the crazy vandals were at their worst. We actually had to spend, I think, $300 or $400 to have detectives.
They were sheriffs, weren't they?
They were sheriffs.
Yeah, they were just,
and
like,
they walked
doing
our
a moonlighter.
perimeter while we had our circle because there was no way we were going to be able to have our circle. What is this?
Sean lights a candle in the window 7 days leading up to the 31st to guide wandering spirits. That's very Norwegian, that, putting a candle in the window. And it's...
Put a candle in the window.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting Creedence Clearwater Revival. And eggs, they make a mess. They do. They can ruin paint on siding.
Eggs make a mess, they can ruin paint, but at least they dissolve. Spray painting somebody's sign. Those signs cost
Hundreds.
upwards of $1,000. So, really not funny. All right. Gilda.
Gilda.
Ooh, decisions.
Choices. Choose you must.
Gilda, I don't know why, but I feel like this has to do with career.
Oh,
I think that there's going to be some offer of work and you really having to kind of figure out what you want to do. Do you want to take this on? Do you want to find the energy and time? And I think that more of the details have to be worked out before you make a commitment. But I do think that it could have something to do with money making. I don't know why. That's what I get.
I'm going to answer Susan in a minute. Choices. Worth a second look at something that you think was probably valueless at some point. I think you might have just overlooked something there. Things are not always as they appear, nor, as we'll keep telling you, are they necessarily otherwise. But I think a closer look, because you've probably got something quite valuable that you've like looked over, looked past, not realised it. It could be, something you've been toying with as an idea of a side hustle almost, or whatever. But it's definitely, you've got something that people will value more than you value. And I just feel that it's not immediately obvious. So just, I don't know. I'm pulling that one out of the ether. That's where I'm coming with that one.
Your first four.
I just want to address what Susan says. Yeah. Now that troubles me greatly. Black cats are not unlucky at all. Black cats are absolutely lovely, and whichever little version of our black cat now, whom
yes, you can take this statue home.
Yes, you can take our mascot home. So we decided on Magick for the name.
Magick is the name of the cat. Yes, in honor of a cat we used to have. But I'm fairly sure that most shelters won't adopt out black cats this time of year because they're afraid of what they're being adopted for, sadly.
Why? What's...
Because some people are really sick. Okay, you're first for Cass. We're not going to talk about horrible things.
We're not. Not a horrible card.
No.
This is I think, opportunity for pecuniary gain here, I think, for you, definitely. And I again, there's no necessary connection here, but I'm getting this.
Yeah.
I'm getting this out of the ether again. I think there's somebody trying your patience, and you need to just be a little more gracious and a little more aloof, and just rise above it. Don't lay them out in lavender, even though they probably deserve it. Lay them out in lavender. That means prepare them to be buried. Speaking of funerary rites, but
oh God.
But I don't know. I just think you're dealing with somebody who's perhaps a little arrogant and ignorant with it. And I know ignorance and arrogance are very unfortunate bedfellows, but they wind up together all the bloody time. So try to just lift yourself above it. I know it's frustrating.
And I don't know why, but I feel like this has something to do with accepting an invitation. Right?
Invitation, baby.
I feel like there's an offer.
Hot dog?
I feel like there's an offer and that you've accepted this invitation many times before, but for some reason I think you have other plans this time and you're not quite sure how to graciously refuse. So I guess you'll cross that bridge when you come to it.
Don't do something if you don't want to.
I'm first for Geraldine.
Geraldine!
Oh. Geraldine.
Speaking of black and white colours.
Like you're coming back to trusting your intuition, that a lot of energy and information is coming in, psychically or intuitively. And I feel like you're in a place where you're better at filtering the chatter from the gold. And I feel that you're really going to find that you're in tune again.
Oh, I can't remember what the Welsh is. I've been trying to learn some wonderful Welsh
Hot dog.
phrases.
Don't mind if I do.
Oh, hot dog. Don't mind if I do. She sent us 2, so there you go.
Oh,
No, stop that. I'm going to go with pretty much exactly what Lisa's saying here. I feel that you are going through a period of tremendous personal growth. But I was saying, the thing is, it's that wonderful thing that's written above the door of every mystery school in history: first know thyself. And the charge of the goddess, if that which you seek you find not within yourself, you'll never find it without. And I really, really, really feel that you are possibly, for the first time in your life, truly getting to know yourself, and because you're knowing yourself well, actually gaining respect for yourself, which is a wonderful, healthy thing. That's not arrogance. It is not at all. It is. Without you, you can do nothing. So I'm overjoyed that you've chosen to honour yourself and learn more about you. And I think you really are. This year starting to unlock so much around you as a result of that. And I feel that you're going through a period of fantastic personal transformation. So kudos to you, girl. And hot dog, don't mind if I do.
That's what Savannah said. Don't mind if I do. All right, you're first for Helena.
All right.
Stick with the program here.
I'm trying. Oh, I like this one. This one's good. This is you being asked to think outside of the box here. You don't need to know exactly
this is
where
Helena,
it is.
yeah.
Yes, you don't need to know exactly where it is you're going. You've just got to have a rough idea. Like a rough bearing,
A
quite
direction.
literally, like a bearing. Because what we got, you see this little crop here. This is an interesting little thing. I'll bring it a bit closer so you can see it. Not got a that little group of trees. Where we are in New Paltz, if you look, you can see the ridge, and on Skytop Tower, which just celebrated its 100th anniversary or something like that. But it's iconic. You cannot mistake that view. You know where you are when you see it, like Glastonbury Tor or whatever. It tells you your locale. It's that much of a standout thing. Well, speaking of early traditions and how things came about, obviously when we transitioned from being hunter-gatherers into a more agricultural society and started to form settlements and stuff, depending on the materials that you had around you, maybe this settlement had lots of clay and so they made beakers, and this settlement were quite handy with bronze or whatever and made axe heads. But the people with the axe heads want the beakers, and the people with the beakers want the axe heads, and so began trade. But there's no roads. There's no roads, there's no maps. How the hell do you navigate? Well, the Celts were fabulous astral navigators, and they could navigate by the stars. But again, as we were saying earlier, moving around at night has inherent dangers with it. You might fall down something, over something, or some animal might try and eat you. So safer to move in the day. Trouble is, you only got one star in the day, the sun, and you can't even see that when it's cloudy. So these were dolmen. They planted crops of trees, and you'll see them all over England. And they stand out literally like a sore thumb. And so you say, if I keep that on my left and head that way, I know roughly I'm going to get where I'm going. That's what you're being asked to do. Just have a rough idea of where you're going. You don't need to have this mapped out perfectly. Don't do this to the nth degree. You'll get there.
Now, I think for some reason, this I use as my Capricorn card, and Capricorns are all about practicality. So I think, knowing that you're my fellow Aquarian, we're very hooked up to spiritual stuff, and we're always kind of getting these downloads of information. But I feel like this card is saying this week, because of all the crazy energy at the weekend and because of the time of year that it is, this week in particular, work to be practical. So instead of maybe just going with your intuition, make sure that it's the best practical choice as well.
We have a new viewer, Voodoo Sue.
Voodoo Sue.
Voodoo Sue. That's a catchy name.
All right. I am first for Sean.
Sean with a massive pumpkin.
Ooh. This is all about healing to me today. So this is Archangel Raphael, God's healer. And I'm not really sure that you're into the angelic realm. And what I'll say is for witches, we don't really see angels as 8-foot tall men that float through walls with wings and halos.
Depending on what you've been smoking.
They're more of an energetic being, or a servant of the light in a different realm. And I feel like this card is offering great healing and transformative energy.
Interesting that. Because, I'm not somebody who really heavily into angels. I know a lot of people particularly are, but I tend to see an angel as being like sentient energy, for want of a better word. But because it's sentient, it knows you're thinking about it. If this makes sense. and you know that thing where Lisa says that, the analogy of like how you progress, sometimes you knock on doors and nothing happens, knock on doors, nothing happens, and you're just about to knock on this door and the door swings open, something comes out and grabs you. And I really feel somehow that there's you're at that point. And yeah, it could well be healing. It could be, you've had a few wrong turns and things didn't pan out exactly as you were looking for and what have you. But I really feel this is a reinforcement because, ignoring the gender roles here, this is like that sense of wonder, that need to know how stuff works. And I think that's what's driving you. And blissfully ignorant you can no longer be, I'm afraid. Whoops.
Yeah, once you know something, you have responsibility for it, don't you? All right, you're first for Misty.
Misty. Oh, come on. This is a cool card. This does not suck. This is if you want God's promise of a happy marriage. It's got, the cohesive family unit, 2.4 kids, 4 Cortina in the garage, house on a hill with a river running past.
What's with this Ford Cortina stuff?
You don't have them over here. It was the most common car in the entire United Kingdom. It's like what everybody had.
Oh, okay.
Supposed to, whatever it would be over here. It's just like standard family life.
Oh, I didn't know, but you've been saying Ford Cortina quite a lot lately. So
Well, that comes up in Welsh a bit, doesn't it? Anyway, moving on. Hot dog, don't mind if I do. So, so this, honestly, this is a really copacetic card. And so, I really feel it's okay to be happy and content. And, sometimes we almost look, you think, oh, that can't be right. When's the other shoe going to drop, kind of thing. And I would counsel you to stop looking for a potential problem that doesn't exist and just relish in happiness. And I think that's a good way to be.
10s become 1s if we look at them through the eyes of numerology. We would reduce 1 plus 0 to be 1. And 1s are new beginnings. So I feel like I want to say yes, that if you had asked a specific question, the answer is yes. But I also feel like you've come full circle with something, and now you're going to start again. So I recognize that this time around, though, you see from where you're standing and you have the experience of that first journey. So I think the answer is yes, and I think you're going to use past experiences to make this journey better.
Sean's getting all Welsh on us, look. Saying Jolken Var. Croeso, mate.
All right, I'm first.
Oh, sorry.
Hands off the cards.
Sorry. Awfully sorry.
Susan! Celebration. I feel like this is some sort of collaborative work that you're doing with others. people working for a common cause. And there seems to be a real like boost of energy. You know, 1 and 1 is much more than 2. So if you have a group of people working for a common cause, you can really, really make things happen in a very good way. So I think that the next few months are going to be really, really beautiful for you. Is he just spamming us with Welsh now?
He says he started the Duolingo course.
Oh, God.
I hear mixed reviews about that. I don't know, because I think
Yeah.
it doesn't do much to help you actually speak it. Read it, maybe, but speak it, I don't think there's the verbal. Unless I'm completely wrong, do tell us. Yes, Susan, great time to really celebrate the sisterhood. Because I really feel that, there's this is like now. This is like right now. We're talking about this time frame. I mean, so I feel there's cause, there's reason for you to celebrate, and I think maybe a reconnection with a couple of friends that you've not seen in a good while or whatever, but really matter a great deal to you. And I think it takes a long time to grow an old friend. You know what I'm saying? So value that. I've moved around so much. We always wind up losing track of all. Miss the people. I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, "When are you guys coming over to visit us?" I haven't seen them in 15 plus years. It's like, yeah, what are you going to do? But there you go. That's
all right.
What we got now?
You're first for Savannah.
Oh, hello, Savannah.
Magic.
This is actually really good. As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. This is the definitive manifestation card. What thou wants, thou must manifest. Keep your eye on the prize. Be mindful not to focus on the things you don't want, ergo worry, because that's manifestation in reverse. Keep your focus purely on what it is aligned with that energy. See yourself totally doing it. Whatever it is, see yourself connected to it. See yourself doing that. See yourself being that. Hold that focus. Keep pure your highest ideal. Strive ever toward it. He said, stealing Doreen's words again. But very much that, because that's what's going to get you there, If you can think it, you can do it. If you can see it, it becomes real.
I sometimes don't even know where this stuff comes from, but I'm focused on his wand, and I'm feeling like you're going to do some sort of work with crystals, particularly selenite. Maybe make a grid. I'm not sure. But I feel like this week there's some real focus on crystal energy and grid work, and some sort of amazing alchemy success work with that. So I don't know where these things come from.
So thank you, Susan. She's just confirmed that you were bang on. You usually are. I just witter on a lot. And Voodoo says Ford Cortina, a great little car. Well, I would call them mid-size, to be honest. I mean, it's probably little by
Well, it's
American.
little over here. It's probably, yeah.
Cars have gotten bigger and smaller.
I know that Jen has been using Duolingo almost a year now to learn Welsh.
Yeah.
I had a hard time because the first few things that they put up to me didn't make sense. Like they gave multiple choice, and I was like, well, that doesn't mean any of those things. But it's all good. We got to start somewhere. And, I wish I had a memory so I could learn Welsh. All right. This is our card of the week, people. What's this one say now, Savannah?
I have a giant 50-pound selenite log. That's a great idea. I'll do a grid on it today.
Sounds
50
good.
pounds of selenite. That's
All right.
big.
This is our card of the week.
Card of the week.
Ooh, not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
All right. I'm going to say we have to be strong. We have to rely on experience. not just, go crazy. And we may, even though this is a fantastic card, we may have a little bit of frustration or a little bit of energy feeling like we're being held back. But I think that whatever we do as far as making sacrifices or working hard, that preparation work that we're doing to build the foundation will be richly rewarded.
I love this card. I love it, love it, love it, love it. It's so interesting that it has Mabon ap Modron shown on it. I just love the way that Pamela kind of tuned into all of these energies.
On, yeah.
Whether she knew or whether she just channeled, I don't know. But she got it, taken between his mother and the wall when he was but 3 nights old. There's a deeper meaning there. Mother's wall, son, etc., etc. So, yeah, Pryderi, however you want to call him, he's there. But it's really is a fantastic card in terms of potential, realization of potential, or setting forth, setting intent, if not necessary. Like this time of year when you start harvesting crops and bringing everything in, you keep your very best one. Maybe you offer that out to the gods,
to get the seeds,
and collect the seeds after whatever, or maybe you keep that one for seed. You let it go to seed because this is going to be your best one. That's the one not you want to eat, because tomatoes with little blemishes on them taste just as good as tomatoes that look perfect. They do. But if we start with good stuff, if we look to keep the best seeds. And I think this time of year, where we really are becoming introspective and we are thinking about, as we started out, gone full circle, kind of curiously enough, we started out thinking about what sacrifices we need to make, what we're going to keep over winter, what we're going to, dispose of, etc., etc. Remember your potential. Keep your, a seed doesn't need instruction. It knows exactly what it is. So it's all programmed in there, that little container, So think about your seeds at this point and your potential for, how you're going to make that come as it comes to when we get the other side, where we get to Astara, which we were talking about, oddly enough, as well, because that's the time frame indicated by this card.
I think there's going to be a lot of groundwork and preparation work this week. That's going to be very important for the future.
Laying foundations, as Lisa was saying, because that wall didn't build itself either.
No.
So there you go. It's a good time. It's a good time. It's a good time to really focus on what is truly important. I think to start thinking about honouring your ancestors. We just had our ancestors circle, which was beautiful and moving, and we build this wreath. Everybody says something to honour their ancestors, or perhaps a loved pet that's passed on, or whatever. And we weave this beautiful wreath of flowers, which we then hang out straight after, and it looks really nice
for a day or so.
But then the flowers start to die.
Wither, yes.
And wither and fade. So it's got that poignant kind of thing about it. It tells us. And we hang it just behind the west gate in our circle. So it's when we get to Samhain, when we get to Kalingayev, which I hope we're going to be outside for, because we had to turn people away for the ancestors circle. We were that literally heaving full. So,
but it's great that people are interested in the religion. We have a wonderful group of new people in Craft of the Wise. It's a nice big group. So anyway,
great people. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So yeah, well, I guess
so folks, we're off to take care of pottery.
That's Lisa's weakness. She can't help herself.
I love pottery.
It's true. It's true. Look at these. I mean, this is an example of some of the pottery.
These didn't come from Jim.
No. We've got these at Craftspeople, I think.
Craftspeople,
yeah. That's
Alrighty.
ton of time ago. Anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Peace be with you.
If you haven't mashed that like button, please do. If you're not a channel member, please contemplate being a channel member, because you'll get a reading every time you come to join us. Haha.
Hoil Vowr, Sean.
Yes, Hoil Vowr. Hoil Vowr, yes. And let's go and do stuff. We'll catch you later. All right. Have an epic day. Bye for now.